Alright, we're going to check out this new 6 to 24 by 50 scope by CVLIFE today. The very first scope they ever sent me that I ever reviewed for CVLIFE was a 6 to 24, and I was wondering if this was going to replace it or be like an upgraded version of that. They still sell that one. It's only $50 still to this day. Check out the parts, accessories, and optics playlist if you want to scroll through and find a review on that. But I was wondering, okay, maybe this is going to be an updated version, a better version, whatever. But I think this is just actually a completely different scope. This one comes in right at about $100. There'll be a link in the description if you want to go check it out. There's a silica pack there. You got a sunshade here. You got your diopter on the back, so you can set it for your own personal eyesight. Of course, you got your flip up cap there, front and rear, adjustable objective on the front there. You can set it for your yardage. It goes clear down to 15, or even actually a little less than 15. I had it clear down here, 5-10 yards. And then it's got settings 50, 75, 100, 150, and then anything beyond you'll just be up in here, and there's infinity. So that's how you'll set your parallax. But unlike that other one, this does have illumination as well, which I'll get some images of the reticle illuminated and unilluminated for you guys. You have 5 different settings, red or green, but this actually has locking and re-zeroable turrets, unlike that very first one I reviewed. So a lot more features on this one, and I can tell you, I didn't realize at the time, because I had no experience with a 24 power scope yet at that time, but that very first one I reviewed, it said 24x, but it was more like a 16, 18x. It was one of the few scopes. I posted a video not too long ago. I did an overview of like the dozen or so scopes that they've sent me over the past 2 years, and that was one of the very few I had any complaints about, and that was the complaint with the original 6 to 24 by 50 that I reviewed. I came to realize later, because like I said initially, I've never had experience with a 24 power before, but that one doesn't quite zoom in true to magnification, but I can confirm that this one does, because I've compared it to a few other known name brand 24x scopes and looking at the same targets through them, and this one is definitely true to magnification at 24x there. And speaking of that, there's your selector dial there, and this thing right out of the box, it's just super smooth and easy to turn. I know a lot of guys hate them when they're stiff and whatnot, and this one's really smooth and easy to turn. So as you can see there, 6x all the way up to 24. And like I said, I'll get some images for you guys. I'll get it on minimum magnification and maximum magnification at varying distances for you guys, as well as showcase the illumination. But that about does it. It does come with the rings here. It's a 1-inch tube. There's some quick stats for you there if you want to pause and read any of that. And I always really like their instructions. They're collared, they're easy to understand, and goes plenty in depth to tell you how to use all the features of the scope. Comes with 2 batteries for the illumination, and of course your screen wipe there, lens wipe, and the little tool that you're going to need to mount it up, and for the zero stop. I think there's another one. There you go. So that was a cool little bonus and a little buck too. Getting ready to throw this up on here, but I gotta say, I noticed these scope rings are really robust and sturdy, so I dig that. If I'm not mistaken, the scope is rated to handle 1,000 G's of recoil, which is at like 338 level, 300 Win Mags, so it would make sense that they would make these pretty sturdy. And also, came with 4 extra screws there, so if you drop or lose anything like that, you got backup screws there, so that's always nice. Alright, there she is mounted up on my BCA upper there. This is a 5.56 1-in-8 hammer forged with their side charger. For more on that, check out my campsite page. She looks a little oversized there on a 16-inch AR, but you know, it just depends on what kind of shooting you're doing. It might look a little more at home on a hunting rifle or a 20-inch or what have you, but I think she looks pretty good up there, other than being a tad oversized for this carbine. But anyways, we're ready to go. Make sure you stay tuned for those through the scope images I'll have coming up for you guys. But I'm going to start out, get it sighted in here. We'll shoot some groups at 100 yards. And then I got a 16-inch gong out there at 400. And I am getting about a 4-inch eye relief on this, but I'm getting just a little bit of halo around the edge. With the 4-inch relief, I noticed if I come up just about a 1/2 inch closer, then that halo completely disappears for me, and it's just crystal clear all the way out there. And then also, again, I'm going to show you guys with some still images, but that 6X, man, even clear out there 400 yards, that's like all I need at 400 yards, and I'll probably do my shooting at 400 on 6X. I wish I had a scope cam to show you guys live, and I'd do that, but 6X is all I need to get out there 400 yards. I mean, I can see everything, and it brings it a lot closer. So all the way up on 24X, it brings whatever you're looking at down there real close. But again, I'll show you guys that coming up here shortly in the video. So I took my first shot there at 20 and need to make a few adjustments. So for anyone who doesn't know, again, locking turrets, so these are exposed. So unlike on the old school design where you got to take the caps off and unscrew them to make your adjustments, which you certainly cannot do on the fly in the field, these are exposed, and all you have to do is pop them up, and then you can turn them. When they're popped down, they're locked, so you don't have to worry about them coming unzeroed. But even if they do, that's what you have these marks for, so you can put it back to 0. And that's how the re-zeroable works too. You'll take this guy off in here, and there's a mechanism down in there you can adjust, which it shows in the instructions manual. But let's say you need to go up this many clicks to get it zeroed at 100. You can then, without moving your adjustment, bring it back to where it's on 0, and then you'll tighten this back down. That way you're sighted in with it on 0. That way, if you need more elevation clicks for further shots and you know your numbers, you can just dial up to that immediately. Same thing, it works the same way on the windage. Let's see, I do need to go up a little bit. I mean, it's 20 yards, so we still got to finalize it at 100 yards. But, and of course, they're, you know, marked one way's up, so the opposite's down, one way's right. Which way do I need to go? The opposite is left, and I need to go right. So that's how she works there. Now I actually had to come out on a different day to get this video finished. You can see I got it up on my Anderson 7.62x39 now. And I'm going to be doing a voiceover for the next few minutes because I had these rowdy guys down next to me, and I just don't like to record like that and draw attention to myself. So voiceover for the next few minutes. So just working on getting the 0 down here at 100 yards perfected. Send in 3 of the wolf hollow points down there at that bottom dot. Doesn't seem to like those too well, so I'm switching to some Max Tech that I recently started using. I actually put a review video out for it. My gun really likes them. I gave it a few clicks down and a few clicks to the left, and it seemed like it was averaging right there. And then we switched to this Max Tech, excuse me. But it was shooting a little bit lower, although you'll see that it groups them much more tightly. There is one shot that I pulled, but other than that, nice tight group. And this is another reason for the voiceover. These guys just would not stop, so really hard to hear me talking in the mic while this going on next to me anyways. This very first shot is the one I pulled. It hits the very bottom of the black, basically where the yellow conjoins with the black under that red dot at the bottom. Next two are just under that red dot.
Pretty cool.
And just to prove that I pulled that first shot low, I went ahead and loaded two more up in here and put them right next to the others. Here's a quick couple of headshots on that silhouette down there at about 130 yards. And now I'm just going straight out here to 400 yards, skipping 100 and going to 4. So I had to take a few sighters to see where impact was going to be first. This next shot is my fault. I just barely pulled it high right, but I'm dealing with the mil-spec trigger here, so.
Yeah, but the really cool thing about this, because it pushes forward, if you put this lock up here so that the dots in the way.
And that's 400 yards with 7.62 by 39 with budget ammo, which is pretty far for that cartridge. Now here's the reticle down here, minimum magnification 6x at 100 yards. Please keep in mind, it looks much better, much more clear and crisp in person than what I can ever achieve trying to take pictures through the scope with my camera. So it looks even better, more clear and crisp in person. And then here we are at the same 100 yards on 16x magnification. I wanted to make a note. If I went above 16x down here at 100 yards, it started to get a little like foggy, hazy looking. But as you can see there, 16x is plenty at 100 yards. And it was only issue there at 100 yards. If I went further out, which again, I don't really need even 16x at 100 yards, but further out, I could go up full 24 power without it being hazy or anything. So, but to be fully transparent, down there at 100, past 16x, it's getting a little hazy, foggy on me. Now here's that 400 yard target on the minimum magnification 6x. Again, it looks way better in person than I can get through the camera. And that little halo ring you see at the bottom / bottom left there, it's just because I did not quite have the camera lined up perfect. It's really hard to take these photos through the scope with the camera. But anyways, that's 400 yards on the minimum magnification of 6x. And then here's 400 on that 16x magnification that I just showed you guys at 100 yards. And then now here is the full 24x magnification at 400 yards. And here is the illuminated reticle on red. I'll show you green in just a second. Always like to comment. Some people, you know, it's a big deal to them whether it's daytime bright or not, but really these are meant for low light. So the fact that you can see it there during the day, not the brightest I've seen, but better than a lot of others. You know, they're meant at shooting at dark game animals like a black wild hog or a black bear or something like that, moose in the shadows. So that's what your illumination is for, so you can see your crosshairs against the black animal. But as you can see there, I'm not even aiming at anything dark, and you can see them no problem in the daylight. Now, if it was a full sun, bright and sunshiny day, probably not. But again, that's not really what those are for. I'm sure some of you guys will probably ask, but I wanted to give this optic a shout out anyways. This is my go-to holographic sight due to performance and overall price. This is new to the market for this year, but it's a Neo HH1. I'm actually going to start putting a link in the description to all my videos because I'm going to keep continuing to run this optic up on my Anderson there whenever I don't have a scope attached. I've been highly satisfied with it and have been using it for several months now with no issues whatsoever. You get pretty much the EOTech performance at like half the price. And right now, at the time of this video posting, should be during the Black Friday week. They have a pretty steep discount on these right now. My link gives the highest discount. So if that's something that interests you, now's the time. Definitely go check it out. Again, it'll be linked in the description. But I absolutely love this thing. It performs great. And be sure to catch my review video on it. You can go to the parts, accessories, and optics playlist on the channel for all my optic reviews. Well, those guys are finally gone, so now I can talk freely without drawing attention to myself. So overall, I really like the scope. It's true to magnification all the way up there at 24x. Clear and crisp for me too. Like I said, if I tried to go full mag at 100 yards, it did get a little like hazy after 16, but further out, it's not an issue. It's just because 100 yards is really close for 24x, and I'm sure there's some high-end $1,000 scopes that are be crystal clear at 100 on maximum magnification, but I ain't worried about that with a $100 scope. And as a matter of fact, I can pretty confidently say, and this is my honest to God opinion, I don't think you're going to find a better 6 to 24 scope for $100. So this is definitely way better than the original 6 to 24 from them that I had tested, a couple years back, a few years back, whenever it was. And that one didn't even have the locking turrets and re-zeroable and resettable and all that. So I'm not even talking about the extra features, just the glass and actual full magnification and everything is easily twice as good. But you're getting way better rings than you get with that one as well. Plus you're getting the locking exposed turrets and re-zero and all that. So yeah, if you want a 6 to 24 for $100 that doesn't suck, this is it. This is the one. So until I test something that performs better than this, I'm gonna highly recommend this in the $100 range for a 6 to 24. I've not seen better yet. Granted, it's not perfect, but for $100, dang near, for 6 to 24, that's almost unheard of to get a 6 to 24 power. Especially adjustable objective and the exposed locking turrets and all that, especially considering all that for $100. So again, link in the description if you want to go check it out. For any of the other products in my videos, target stand, paper targets I use, steel targets, just shoot and bag here, and way more, all that's linked in the description. And for products I cannot link to on YouTube, check out my campsite page, which is also linked in the description. For more product reviews like this one, be sure to check out my parts, accessories, and optics playlist on the channel. But thanks for stopping by and checking this one out today. I really appreciate it. And I hope to catch you. Give me a focus. Thank you, camera. Hope to catch you guys on the next one.